Welcome to Bowling Green, Kentucky for the final day of the regular season in college football, and we've got a good one in Conference USA. Jacksonville State, winners of 8 in a row, comes to the Hilltop to take on Western Kentucky. And there is a lot at stake this afternoon. Jacksonville State has already clinched home field advantage in the Conference USA Championship game on Friday. Western Kentucky has a chance to control their own destiny today. With a win, they would face Jacksonville State again next weekend. Matt Schumacher, the former Ohio State Buckeye. Dustin Fox with you. Final day of the regular season, week 14, holiday weekend, everything on the table for these two teams.
Nothing better than having this final Saturday matter, and it matters for both teams. You mentioned Jacksonville State, an opportunity here to go undefeated in conference play. And for the Hilltoppers, you've got 27 seniors here that go out for the final time here at the Houch.
Well, this is certainly a matchup that everyone in Conference USA is watching, including Sam Houston State. Rich Rodriguez started the year 0-3. They've since won 8 in a row. It's one of the longest win streaks in the country to date. Meanwhile, Ty Helton's team began the conference 5-0. They've since lost back-to-back games against very good teams, and yet a trip to the conference championship still awaits, but they have to figure out how to stop Jacksonville State's running game, which many have not this year.
Well, and that is a huge challenge for this defense here of the Hilltoppers. A week ago, they gave up over 400 yards on the ground against Liberty, and that is something that Jacksonville State is looking to exploit this week against Western Kentucky. You've got two dudes here in the backfield. Their quarterback, Tyler Huff, is off the charts good, and the conference's leading rusher in Trey Stewart, the Division II transfer, almost 120 yards per game. And these guys, you talk about their offense as a whole, 41 touchdowns on the ground. That's second in the entire FBS.
And their rush yards per game, top 3 in the FBS as well, behind just Army and Liberty. They will put their 8-game win streak to the test on Senior Day, on the road, in the final game of the regular season. Kickoff is next from the Hilltop. Back in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where it is Senior Day, and Western Kentucky will honor 27 seniors prior to kickoff. Elijah Young, of course, a star at the running back position. Keyshawn Johnson, transferring over from Alabama State, has been huge for a pass attack that ranks tops in Conference USA. But of course, these seniors playing in their final home game have a chance to do something special, and that is bring Western Kentucky to the Conference USA Championship game, already bowl eligible for the 6th consecutive year under Ty Helton. Meanwhile, Jacksonville State, winners of 8 in a row, one of the top win streaks in the country behind only Oregon, Boise State, and Notre Dame, and a chance to finish the regular season undefeated in just their 2nd year at the FBS level. And it has been a historic year under Rich Rodriguez, the most consecutive wins since 2017. They clinched a spot in the Conference USA Championship game last week with a win over Sam Houston. Bowl eligible in their first 2 years in the FBS since the Randy Moss era at Marshall in the late 90s.
Yeah, it goes way back, and you look at what they've been able to accomplish, nothing short of remarkable, because it's so rare, Matt, to come up from the FCS level to FBS. It takes typically a few years, 5 years, sometimes 10 years for these teams to be competitive, not just in their own conference, but in terms of the national landscape.
Winston Messer takes it out across the 25. And that is where Western Kentucky will start after Jackson State won the toss and elected to defer. Caden Veldkamp was not the starter at the beginning of the year, was thrust into QB1 role week 4. He's been very good since.
He really has. You know, you started the season with TJ Finley. There was a great competition going into the year. Of course, an injury happens to Finley. In comes Veldkamp. This guy is an absolute monster just in terms of his size. He's a local kid, so it's pretty special. Probably his biggest game he's played here.
First down carry to Elijah Young. Knocked back by Fred Perry. Well, you're right, Dustin. This is a guy in Caden Veldkamp who grew up and played high school football 8 miles from Houchin Smith Stadium here on the campus of Western Kentucky. His dad, Jason, is a strength coach here. A chance for him in his first year as the starter to send Western Kentucky to the Conference USA Championship game. Second and 10. Veldkamp heaves and incomplete, intended for Dalvin Smith.
Pretty nice throw there by Veldkamp, stepping up in the pocket, trying to find Dalvin Smith on the outside. The ball's a little low. Remember, it's about 38 degrees out here, so these footballs are going to be a little tougher to catch in these conditions.
Western Kentucky has been very good on third downs this year. Top 3 in the conference in terms of their conversion rate. Three-man rush. Veldkamp flushed underneath, and it's blown up. Derek Carter with the play for Jack State. And it's a loss of 6.
A great job by the interior of just forcing Veldkamp to make this throw to the backside. And what an incredible open field tackle by Derek Carter. That's a difficult play to make. Huge loss and a great start for the Jacksonville State defense.
UNC transfer Cole Maynard with a low line drive punt will trickle inside the 35 and be downed by Western Kentucky. And so now, for the first time this afternoon, we'll get to see Tyler Huff, the Furman transfer, who has absolutely lit up Conference USA, both with his feet and his arm.
Well, it's been mostly his feet, certainly as of late, and certainly last week when they had to have it against Sam Houston here. So I've been so impressed with this kid. He's not the biggest dude, 6'1", 215, but he's really, really talented in terms of his ability to run. Matt, last week, this guy threw 9 completions to 9 different receivers. How rare is that?
And the reigning player of the week in the conference for the second time this year gives it to Trey Stewart. And the conference's leading rusher churns ahead for a gain of 5. And that's really what makes this offense so difficult. Not only do you have Trey Stewart, the Division II transfer and leading rusher in the conference, but Ty Huff has the ability to run wild as well. And on 2nd and 5, it's back to Stewart with room out across midfield for a first down.
A heck of a job there by Sean Brown. 17. Watch 17 here in white. Heck of a block on the outside that springs Stewart, allows him to pick up those extra yards on the perimeter.
This time Huff keeps on the option. And he does not go down with first contact.
And this is just the start of what they do. You know, they're going to start going inside. They're going to get the ball on the perimeter. They're going to do some design quarterback runs. The RPO game, a huge part of this offense, and they will also get up there and go a little bit of tempo as well.
To Stewart. Burrows forward for a gain of 4. Tackle made by his former Limestone College teammate Chandler Matthews. A couple of kids coming up a level for their final years of college football. Huff will keep it on the ground. And they so rarely have negative plays, particularly in the rush game.
Well, how can you? When you got dudes like this, you got an offensive line that Matt had to replace 3 starters, I believe, from a season ago, yet they've got a better rushing attack here. Empty set, this is where Huff takes off and goes.
Instead, he's going to throw, and it's intercepted on the first pass of the game. DeMarco Williams wins it back for Western Kentucky.
It's hard to tell if Williams gets a jam on the receiver. Just a quick slant. I don't even think Huff was looking the direction. Throws it, and a pick. And a big start for a Western Kentucky defense that certainly needs turnovers.
A Jack State drive stalls with an interception on the first pass play of the game. DeMarco Williams winning it back for Western Kentucky.
I just don't like the decision to throw in that situation. Certainly throw in a spot where you can't even see your receiver slip out of his break.
So it sets up WKU from inside their own 25. And Elijah Young goes nowhere. Kaiwan McCray was in there to stop him just across the original line of scrimmage.
And McCray got in there in a hurry.
Well, we fully expected coming into this game that takeaways would be a key piece. Both defenses top 15 in the country in turnovers. Veldkamp feeling the pressure and fires it to his most reliable receiver, Easton Messer, a former walk-on, now the #2 leading receiver.
He's the guy that has become sort of the go-to receiver in crucial moments, more so on third downs, but nobody really even sees Messer coming over the middle between two route combinations, and a great job by Veldkamp stepping up in the pocket.
Here's Elijah Young. That's his best run of the game so far. Give him 7 or 8 on first down.
Little chippiness there on the back end. Keyshawn Johnson. There's Elijah Young, man. He's braced up, man.
Back-to-back leading rusher lunges ahead for a first down. And Dustin, when we were talking with his head coach Ty Helton coming into the weekend, he said we put more on the shoulders of Elijah Young than they anticipated this year. Super proud of how he's responded.
No, he really has. You know, he's done a nice job in this offense, and they've asked him to do a lot more, really, because typically these offenses under Ty Helton are more explosive offensively with the pass game.
Underneath, pass is caught. Noah Myers running inside the 20 for a gain of 25.
Another late developing play here by the Hilltoppers. This takes a little bit of time. You'll see 81, that's Noah Myers, a little block hesitation, gets off the line of scrimmage late, and Veldkamp finds him in stride, and the Hilltoppers are on the move.
Back-to-back pass plays of 18 plus. Pressure off the edge, and that blew up the screen attempt. Kaiwan McCray again like a missile in the backfield.
And not only did he get in there in a hurry, he forced the errant throw as they try to set up the screen on the backside. Watch 11. Gets a paw on the football, unblocked off the left side, comes in there, creates a little bit of pressure. Second play on this drive alone where he's had an impact in the backfield.
Second-year junior college transfer out of Independence Community College in Kansas. 2nd and 10. Another screen. This one's wide open. And Young's going to walk into the end zone for a touchdown.
Stone's call by Ty Helton to come back to the boundary again with another screenplay after a previous screenplay got entirely blown up. I don't think anybody on that Jacksonville State defense thought they'd try that, and you see Elijah Young untouched into the end zone. Wow, what a response by Western Kentucky here, Matt. Opening drive, go 3 and out. A turnover, and they got points. They go 7 plays, 76 yards in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and Veldkamp finds his senior Elijah Young on senior day. 7-0 from the Hill.
What a tale of 2 drives to start the game for Western Kentucky. 3 plays for -6 yards. They get an interception and they come right back and march down the field. 5th touchdown of the year for Elijah Young. And the Hilltoppers with a 7-0 lead at home on senior day. A win and you're in scenario here at WKU. And now how does Jack State respond after they marched right down the field on their opening drive and stalled with a pick on the opening pass play of their first series?
I don't think you're that concerned if you're Rich Rodriguez. You moved the ball pretty much at will in that opening drive. And on that 3rd and 5, you know, obviously a poor decision to make the throw. I personally would have just gone back to the ground game.
Little pooch kick here from Riley Stevens is fair caught inside the 20. Well, coming up tonight on ABC, the one everyone down south and in the SEC has had circled. We cap off the night with number 3 Texas, number 20 Texas A&M in College Station. A lot of SEC championship game and college football playoff implications on the line tonight in College Station. Second drive for Tyler Huff, gives it to his favorite running back, Trey Stewart. And what a story he has been this year. Began his career at Division II Limestone College, transferred in, and has done nothing but rack up 100-yard games ever since in his first year at the FBS level.
Yeah, you transferred from a Division II school to then lead an FBS conference in rushing. That doesn't happen very often.
2nd and 7. And the second pass play of the game is incomplete for Tyler Huff. Well, Chandler Matthews has already made 1 tackle today on his former teammate Trey Stewart. Of course, they both played at Limestone College last year.
Quickly, a very important 3rd down for this Jack State offense.
Late pressure flushes out Huff. And Huff will be brought down just across the line of scrimmage, bringing up 4th down.
Well, very similar to the last drive. It was a quick slant pattern that pretty much stalled the drive. Because they decide to go to the air on 2nd down, it's an incomplete pass. They're forced to go back to the air on 3rd down. And that's exactly what Western Kentucky would like. They would love to see Jack State pass and have to play from behind.
Punt is away. Katie Hutchinson will return it. And gets hammered down just across his own 25. Time now for our player check-in presented by Allstate. Tyler Huff, on his first pass play of the game, has it intercepted by DeMarco Williams. And then the other way, Caden Veldkamp using his arm to lead a touchdown drive on their second offensive possession.
A couple of nice throws that get them inside Jacksonville State territory, and then the screen pass to his running back, Elijah Young. That drive went 7 plays for the touchdown, and now looks like we're backing up here, Matt.
There was a penalty at the end of that return. There was a hold on Western Kentucky, so they'll start from their own 15. Veldkamp down the seam, finds Messer for a few more yards at the end of that catch and run. Give him 22 and a 1st down.
Caden Veldkamp is coming out in this game and feels very confident in throwing the football. That's a great throw down the seam to Messer, one of his security blankets here in this offense.
Veldkamp takes a shot here and overshoots the leading wide receiver on this team, Keyshawn Johnson. Derek Carter in coverage. 2nd and 10 for Caden Veldkamp. Messer in motion. They'll hand it to him. And now a 3rd and long upcoming for the Hilltoppers.
Really nice job by Jacksonville State's defense there to secure the perimeter, to not allow Messer outside the defense. They force everything back inside. Fred Perry is in there to help make the stop. So 3rd and 9. Messer's been the guy early in the ball game. Typically on these 3rd downs, he is the one to keep an eye on too. He's top of the screen, middle of the trips left.
Already 2 big catches in the first quarter of 18 plus. Veldkamp checked down. And George Hart is stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Antonio Carter was in there first.
Man, Carter and Fred Perry are 2 safeties that just run around, fly around the football, and they get there with a bad attitude. Just watch this tackle in space. You come in there. I love how they wrap. They're physical. You can tell they've been on the tackling sled a little bit this week, getting ready for this big one to try and go undefeated in conference play.
Maynard's 2nd punt. And that is blown up immediately. What a play by this Western Kentucky special teams unit. And 2-2 Griffin. 7-0 lead early for the Hill. Well, Rich Rodriguez now in his 3rd year at Jack State. Well traveled as a head coach. Uber successful. 1 game away from making the national championship with West Virginia. His Michigan Wolverines getting a win over Ohio State today. Then Arizona was out of the game for a few years. And now at Jack State has done nothing but win. 18-2 in conference games since he took over, leading them to a new era from the FCS to the FBS. And now 1 win away, Dustin, from an undefeated season, as his quarterback Tyler Huff pulls it back and is in a foot race. Huff is dragged down inside the 30, but a major run for his transfer quarterback. 51 yards and a 1st down.
Kind of fooled me, kind of fooled the entire Hilltoppers defense. Thought that Trey Stewart was getting the football, and he comes out the backside, and he is out the gate.
And right back up the middle to Trey Stewart.
Right back to where he threw the pick, about the 30-yard line, and now they're inside the 25, approaching the red zone, and they hurry up here on about 2nd and 4. Guess what? Probably a little RPO.
Off will keep and gain a few, very close to the line to gain, but just short, and it brings up 3rd down.
It's Rodriguez. He is so much fun to talk to. You know, he has an aura about him and an energy that I just, you feel it even through our Zoom calls. As there's a false start here on the Gamecocks. Not happy with the penalty, though.
Offense. Everybody but the center. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Love that from Reed Brotherton, our referee, this afternoon for this all-important Conference USA finale. So instead of 3rd and short for Rich Rodriguez's offense, 3rd and 6. Do they go to the air here? Oh, a botch snap. Huff runs into his own offensive lineman, and that was just a disastrous 2 plays for Jack State.
No, it really was. But we'll find out. This could be a decision time here. Well, maybe a quick decision made by Jack State. They're going to try the field goal attempt here with Garrison Ripa. He has been really, really good this season. Hit a 51-yarder against EMU. A little bit of a wind, kind of a crosswind here today. And they're going to line this up from that left hash.
He has made 4 in a row. This from 46 with the wind at his back. And he sneaks it right on through. A long field goal, and Jacksonville State is on the board for the first time today.
I thought you were going to jinx another kicker this week, Matt.
No such thing.
It is funny how everyone thinks that it matters. But nice kick there, sneaks it in, you're right. And a nice drive response by Jacksonville State.
Well, don't forget to tune in to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game next Saturday, December 7th, 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Not unlike what we've had here this afternoon. Still a lot to be decided in the Big 12. 5 teams still in contention. Meanwhile,
we'll just gloss over that one, man. Come on.
Things have been shaken up with the result in Columbus.
What happened? I'm kidding.
I know you are. We watched it before we kicked this game off.
Not sure our audience knows that I went to Ohio State.
Former captain and national champion at Ohio State, Dustin Fox.
3-1 against those guys up north.
They could have used some of that today.
Could have used a lot more than that.
Short kick. Easton Messer will return. And has a crease and gets out across the 25. Your thoughts on Feldkamp
yeah,
to start?
I was just going to say, partner, I think he's been, I would say, impressive to start the game. You know, talking with Ty Helton this week, it seemed like they've sort of kind of made the offense a little more vanilla, and I don't mean it like in a negative way towards Van Kelp or anybody here on the offense. Veldkamp, excuse me. I'll get it right one of these times.
He's got Elijah Young in the backfield. And will look to pass. Already 4 long completions in this game, and now Veldkamp will just get out of bounds. Ushered out by Lelete Hale.
I really enjoyed both these coaches this week, Matt. Ty Helton had the chance to do a Western Kentucky game last year, and both of these guys have a great vibe about them.
First catch of the game for Keyshawn Johnson. And both programs have a great deal of respect for one another because they've been uber successful in a short period of time at the FBS level.
Western Kentucky has been around here for really, I mean, they've been around for a while, but the last decade plus, they have been known for their offense. Explosive plays, fun team to watch. And for Jacksonville State, Rich Rod's trying to put them on the map. They'd like to become known for something in the landscape of college football. Big third down. They maybe like to be known for a defensive stop here on third down.
They bring pressure off the edge. Picked up by Young. Leads to a completed pass. Again to Keyshawn Johnson. And a gain of 8 to keep the drive alive.
Veldkamp, for as big as he, look how big this guy is. You know, my son plays college football on his Xbox, and he creates like players, and he makes himself as like a 7-foot dude who's like 270 pounds yoked out. That's what Veldkamp kind of looks like, a creative player on a video game.
Great protection, and there was some contact there downfield. Katie Hutchinson was the intended receiver, got tangled up with Zechariah Poyser, and no flags.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit of either the turf or the feet got caught up very early in the route, so no call there.
That's right, Caden Veldkamp, 6'6", 236. And his head coach, Ty Helton, told us he more so looks like a tight end.
He totally looks like a tight end. In fact, I think he would be a fantastic tight end if you wanted to put him out wide.
Second and 10. Veldkamp feeling the pressure. And just got rid of it with Jabril Alameen in his grill.
And I was looking at that play, Matt, and I'm thinking, man, is he going to make a young quarterback mistake here? Is he going to take a sack? Is he going to not throw this ball away and force potentially a turnover? Smartly gets away, knows he's going to take a shot there at the end, gets rid of the football, lives to fight for another play, which is a huge 3rd and 10 coming up here. Should I keep saying Messer's name on 3rd down?
Single coverage for Messer. Instead, it is thrown away in the vicinity of Michael Matheson. Had Messer on the backside, but didn't find him, and now 4th and 10.
Matheson had multiple defenders covering him on that deep crossing pattern. Pretty sure he was the primary target on that no matter what, and Veldkamp was going to throw it to him. You can see he's coming across. He's got 2 guys on him. A little contact there. Clearly not enough to get the call.
That punt was almost blocked. Flip Rudolph will let it bounce inside the 20, and now will roll all the way to about the 14.
They got to be careful, Matt, on that punt team for Western Kentucky. That's the second one that was nearly blocked.
Well, you can kick off your Week 13 NFL Sunday with a countdown crew. Of course, they'll break down the big matchup between Saquon Barkley and the Eagles, Derrick Henry and the Ravens, plus how Matthew McConaughey has helped Falcons running back Bijan Robinson fulfill his acting dream. Maybe
that make you
Dustin
laugh
Fox
that much?
Has an acting dream.
It's
We
about,
can connect
it's
you
about
with the former
my
Longhorn.
God. I'm a big fan. Big fan of McConaughey.
This one goes to Trey Stewart rather, and it is strung out going nowhere. Harper Holloman, the true freshman, with the tackle.
Well, you said it earlier in the game, Matt. It is very rare to see a Jacksonville State run that's a negative play, and there's one right there on 1st down.
Already rushed for nearly 100 yards in the 1st quarter, but it hasn't amounted to much. Stewart again plunging ahead. And that could be the final play of the 1st quarter unless Jack State wants to hurry it up for this impending 3rd down.
It appears they're going to try and maybe get another playoff.
They are. There's only about 10 seconds to do it, and now it looks like Rich Rodriguez is content to let this wind us all the way to the 2nd quarter.
Well, and why not, Matt? You got a free timeout here essentially before a very, very big 3rd and 6.
Will we see a pass attempt from Tyler Huff, who's 0 for 2 with an interception, leading to the 1st score of the game for Western Kentucky? They lead it on Senior Day, 7-3 after 1.
Championship weekend begins next Friday.
Well, certainly conference championship implications on the line this afternoon through 1 quarter. Western Kentucky in a win and you're in scenario with a 4-point lead. And they have Jack State on their heels yet again for a 3rd and long to start the 2nd frame here in Bowling Green. And a whistle comes in, pre-snap penalty. This will be the 3rd on Jack State.
Start. Offense, number 18. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
He's on the edge. Is a wide receiver, Cam Vaughn. Just leaves the blocks early. That's for you, Matt. Matt's a track guy.
And Cam Vaughn's their top wide receiver.
He is.
Empty set for Huff on 3rd and 15. Pressure comes. Huff looking for Vaughn. Lots of contact and no flags.
And very surprised there was not a flag on the defensive back, Anthony Johnson Jr., number 4. He's grabbing the jersey all the way down the field, Matt. Cam Vaughn's just kind of fighting Johnson Jr. off of him down the field. Kind of caught a little bit of it late. Look at the jersey grab right there. He can't even get his head turned around. I'd have been called for a flag there.
Returnable for Hutchinson. He just ducks out of trouble. But they'll start in plus territory after a 3rd and 15 goes nowhere for Jack State.
Excellent starting field position here for the Hilltoppers. And you got to be thrilled if you're a Western Kentucky fan with the way that you started the ball game. Your defense, which was a huge concern, coming into this game, they have played extremely well. And the one thing that to me is very interesting is that Western Kentucky, Ty Helton told us yesterday, their defense, they give up a ton of yards, but they really tighten up inside the red zone, the green zone, when you approach that 35, 30-yard area as well.
Up the gut to Elijah Young. It is 7-3 Western Kentucky early in the second quarter. And so much to play for Ty Helton's club that started Conference USA play 5-0. They've since lost back-to-back games, including getting thumped, really, by Liberty, who ran for over 400 yards against the Hilltoppers last week. But a great response, at least early here in their final home game of the regular season.
And Matt, they have that one loss to BC by 1 point. They would have had a 7-game winning streak earlier in the season.
Well, Camp will throw it into the dirt.
Man, J-Rock Swain, Matt, I know you love this guy. Coming into this game, you've been talking about him before the game. What a monster this dude is on the inside. Where's number 30 for the Gamecock defense?
Well, as head coach Rich Rodriguez told us, he will be a coach, J-Rock Swain, at some point. Just has a great feel for the game and just forced a 3rd and 6 for Western Kentucky. Well, Kent quickly away with it. And a first down and more, though there is a flag after the catch and run by Keyshawn Johnson.
Hard to tell exactly what it was. May have been a legal man downfield, potentially. I saw, Rodney Newsom, the right guard, was downfield.
Pass interference.
Oh,
Offense,
OPI.
15-yard penalty to the previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
That's Messer. They're going to get him for the offensive PI, and you wonder, well, how was he so wide open here on the outside? We'll take a look. Messer's inside. There you see Messer. It's going to be just a little tunnel screen inside. Yeah, just a little block early.
It's almost like a pick play there from Messer.
It was. I don't know. It's close.
What it does is it negates a first down gain from Keyshawn Johnson, makes it 3rd and 21 from inside Western Kentucky's own 40, and now a timeout by Ty Helton with 1 second on the play clock.
Western Kentucky, they're first. Timeout.
We will take the timeout with them and be back for this 3rd and 21 when we return.
On the mountaintop, national champion.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Well, the playoff picture just got a whole lot messier, and there's still a lot of football left to play. Remember tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus and ABC, Texas and Texas A&M with massive SEC and college football playoff implications on the line. 3rd and 21 here from Bowling Green, Kentucky, after the pass interference on Easton Messer, negating a first down gain. Well, Camp dumps it down, and Jack State's going to get off the field on 3rd down.
Well, an impressive job by Jacksonville State to get off the field. Remember, they were so backed up because of that OPI, and OPI is a drive killer.
Maynard's punt is away. Another
Matt, they're
low
getting
liner
through there like crazy.
Here's Flip Rudolph. Positive return.
Jacksonville State's going to block a punt today, Matt.
They've been awfully close a couple of times already in the first half. Of course, they have won 8 in a row, clinching not only a spot in the title game, but opportunity to host it on Friday, December 6th. Could possibly be a rematch of our matchup today if Western Kentucky can find a way to win. Sam Houston helping out Western Kentucky with a win yesterday against Liberty by 2. And meanwhile, Keyshawn Swanson, the defensive back and special teamer for Western Kentucky, down after that last return. It was interesting. We were talking with Rich Rodriguez coming into this game, and he told us, of course, every game we play, we may as well win it. But you asked him, you know, what is at stake for you today? He said, our brand. Every game, particularly those on national TV, Dustin, Rich Rod feels like are an opportunity to put the Jack State brand on a national platform.
No question. You know, we kind of joked about it in our call. There's a lot of people out there that think Jacksonville State's in Florida. Like, that's what they're battling, is getting the brand on the radar for everybody who's a fan of college football. Like, you want them talking about you on College Game Day. You want to be a team that essentially is a powerhouse. You want to be like a James Madison, you know, that everybody knew about at the FCS level, that comes up to the FBS level and competes.
Couple of flags on that last play. We're going to hear from Reed Brotherton now.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 19, 15-yard penalty at the end of the play, automatic first down.
So Virgil Marshall at the safety spot with a face mask and a 15-yard penalty. But to your point, Rich Rodriguez told us right after he got the job, he got phone calls from friends saying, can't wait to see you on the beach next year. No beaches here in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
No.
Or Jacksonville, Alabama.
Fair enough. And you know, Jacksonville, Alabama, I've been there. Called a game there, a playoff game, FCS, way back in, goodness, I think it was 2017. And I was just impressed at their stadium, their facilities, and in the town. I mean, it's a really cool town.
Andrew Paul, the Georgia transfer, will make it 3rd and short for a Jack State offense that has now run for over 100 yards in the first half, and yet only 3 points to show for it.
Well, that speaks to the philosophy of Western Kentucky's defense. It's that bend but don't break. They're fine with allowing you to have some chunk plays out, you know, between the 40-yard lines, but things certainly tighten up.
Huff is stopped short. And Jack State remains over on 3rd downs in the first half. And now do you go for it if you're Rich Rodriguez?
Well, he's thinking about it. He's leaving the offense on the field. It sounds like this isn't even a thought. And frankly, if you're Jacksonville State, you don't have a lot to lose in this game. You already know you're locked in, so maybe you're a little bit more aggressive in a situation like this.
Quick snap goes to Paul up the middle. This is going to be awfully close.
He's short. He's short.
Western Kentucky thinks they've got to stop on 4th down.
He is absolutely short.
Wow, that's a generous spot where that football ended up.
I just said that prior to the spot. And JSU is going to try to go quick here, because if they look at this again, I'm not so sure this would hold up.
Western Kentucky, they're second.
Not a professional lip reader, but it doesn't seem like Ty Helton's too pleased with that spot.
No, he's upset, and that's why he calls timeout. He'd like to have it looked at again. Now, they had to get to what, the 44? Yeah, it's about the 44-yard line. And Matt, I don't know, man.
Well, I agree with you.
It's tough to overturn spots. We know that just about football in general in terms of going back and having a great look.
Of the spot, the play is under review.
Well, we just got told that Western Kentucky's going to challenge the spot.
You know, it's interesting that you and I had a conversation with the replay review crew a week ago and sort of asked about these challenges and how often they happen. And they're rarely successful because it's tough to overturn. And remember, Matt, they replay every single play. I mean, every play's under review. So they'll take a little bit more time to get this one right now that Ty Hilton has challenged.
Well, our replay official this afternoon is Johnny Price up in our press box.
You know, Matt, at the very end of the run, you can see him kind of reach the ball forward just a little bit. I don't know from that's not a down the line angle we have.
Plus, he's at the bottom of the pile.
Right.
So how can you see where his knees are, his elbows?
So this may be the best look from an all-22 perspective, and there's nothing you can see there. So here's my official take on this, my official stance. I don't like the spot, but I don't think it's getting overturned. Fair?
Fair.
Okay.
Certainly taking a long look at this here. Johnny Price, replay official, Reed Brotherton, a referee. There's a meaningful game for both teams. You mentioned the fact that there's really nothing to lose for Rich Rod other than they put a lot of energy into going undefeated this year, and there's some pride on the line there, the brand.
Well, one thing you know about Rich Rodriguez in his coaching style is they only care about winning and going one speed, and that is doing whatever it takes to get wins. And so, like, they're not going to take a game off. They're not going to try to think about, because I asked him about this. I mean, do you think about your opponent, who you're going to play in the conference title game? Because you basically could pick. I mean, if they wanted to play Sam Houston and they felt like that was a better matchup, they could have, in this game, started Logan Smothers and played some of the backups and let them get some reps and said, whatever happens, happens. We win with our backups, great. If not, you see it in the NFL all the time.
Sure.
You know, when they rest starters in week 17. Now week 18.
But that is not the strategy of Rich Rodriguez.
No, it's not even close to in his DNA. It's not his MO. Like, that's not what they're about.
Riding one of the nation's longest win streaks, fourth longest, in fact, coming into the weekend against a Western Kentucky team that must win to get in.
Matt, this is taking an awfully long time. Awfully long time, which should probably give some hope to Western Kentucky fans that they may have a potential reversal.
Well, certainly that's what Ty Helton's hoping for after he called a timeout, sort of forcing their hand to look at this a little bit longer and make a decision.
After review, the runner was short of the line to gain with the ball at the 43.5-yard line. It'd be 1st and 10 for Western Kentucky at that spot. The replay process was initiated prior to the timeout, so Western Kentucky is not charged a timeout.
So a successful challenge.
No, he's saying it was not a challenge. He said the replay process happened before the challenge happened. So I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you could hear that.
Yeah, well,
I could.
Either way, it worked out. I don't think that Coach Helton cares whether he got the challenge right or the replay review initiated. The result is they've got the football.
Camp on 1st down, takes a shot and hits his man Messer inside the 20.
Boy, this is just a great throw on the outside. It's man coverage, and that may have been a little contact there down the field that helped Messer get open. But a great throw right to the sideline, goes up and catches it. I thought for a moment, if he hits him in stride, he may have just walked into the end zone.
3 catches now for Messer and 70 yards receiving in the first half. And now Western Kentucky knocking on the door again in the red zone. And pre-snap false start on the outside.
Yeah, that's up top. That's Keyshawn Johnson, I believe.
Offense, number 0. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's pretty obvious.
Well, Jack State's red zone defense has been one of the best in the country, top 15 this year. Carry goes to George Hart, the Arizona State transfer, and Jabril Alameen with the tackle. And this is a big red zone opportunity for both teams. Of course, Jackson State won the toss, elected to defer to the second half. And now 2nd and 13. Veldkamp has to unload it quickly, finds Johnson out at the original line of scrimmage for 3rd and 10.
Now, this Western Kentucky offense, you talked about their red zone efficiency. Kind of middle of the pack in Conference USA. This is where I would not be surprised to see Luke Olson, the defensive coordinator, dial up a little pressure here on the young Caden Veldkamp.
There it comes. Right up the middle. And Veldkamp goes down.
Ball came out.
The ball came out. And Jack State says they have it.
Was this a fumble or was it not on the field? They're not ruling it dead. And the ball,
Jackson State's ball,
is recovered by Jack State.
The rule is field is a fumble
who made that
recovered by the
tackle.
defense. 1st and 10. Jack State.
Recovered the fumble.
Timeout in the field.
And it was Lalete Hale punching it out at the very end.
Hale came through. And what a stop by the Gamecocks. Still 7-3 from the Hill.
Official ruling is there was a fumble on the field recovered by Jack State. Right place, right time for one of the top takeaway defenses in the country.
Hale was in there right on the spot. Fred Perry as well, and you're right. Alameen. Johnny on the spot.
Big turnover with Western Kentucky in the red zone. And Jack State continues their dominance as a very stout red zone defense, giving it back to Tyler Huff. Still in search of their first touchdown of the game. Here is Trey Stewart. And the leading rusher in the conference just burrowing ahead near the first down marker.
Boy, that looked like a different run than we've seen in the first half. I mean, he was really shot out of a cannon and confuses the Hilltoppers defense where he's going.
Back to Stewart again. And they did give him a first down in the last run. Gained 6 on 1st and 10.
I just think that Jacksonville State needs to commit to the run and just put a drive together of 12 plays, 14 plays, whatever it may be. My prediction goes poorly.
First completed pass of the game for Huff finds Brock Recksteiner for a first down. Huff just 1 for 4 with an interception. But again, you talked about it at the beginning of the game. He was 9 for 12 last week in a win in which the team ran for over 200 yards, and Huff had 177 of those.
Matt, I do think that there's going to be some opportunities down the field for Jacksonville State to take some shots. Eventually, they're going to have to take some deep ones and hit them, because you can see Western Kentucky, they're playing a lot of coverage that's tight. They've got their safeties typically around 9 yards, heels around 9 yards, so you got guys playing way up.
Huff flushed, directing traffic, hit his man, Cam Vaughn. I think they give him forward progress.
They were going to. Matt, they were going to. The official came in right at about the 41-yard line, it was going to be about a yard to go. It was going to be third and short, excuse me. And because he runs back on his own merit, like he goes right there, that is going to be a huge, huge loss.
I mean, he caught that ball at the 40-yard line, and officially it's a loss of 1. Off underneath, looking for Vaughn, and well defended by Anthony Johnson Jr. 4th down coming.
Well, and now you pretty much have to punt because it's 4th and 7. If this were 4th and 1 at the 40, where he caught the ball, you'd go for it. Yeah, he did have a receiver open down the middle. That was Rex Steiner.
Fair caught by Hutchinson at the 12. So Western Kentucky's defense continues to bend but not break. They lead 7-3. Tuesday, we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys break them down top to bottom. Coach reactions as well as a live interview with committee chairman Ward Manuel, the Michigan AD. Big day for the Wolverines. And a big day across college football with a lot of movement and still some games to play. Of course, that Texas A&M game looming on ABC, 7:30 Eastern tonight from College Station. Brought to you by Capital One. 1st and 10 carry goes for a loss. Miami right now at Syracuse. If they win that game, the ACC championship game will be SMU and Miami. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Well, first off, it's just kind of a little weird that SMU's in that conference. And also very impressive for them to go from the American to the AAC and be a top 10 team in the entire nation.
Camp, and that's just miscommunication with Dalvin Smith, who was not looking for the throw. Probably weirder that SMU played Cal in a Atlantic Coast Conference game today.
Correct. Yeah.
That's the world we live in now, partner.
I still have a hard time remembering what conference some of these teams are, especially those West Coast teams. It's just weird to me that Oregon's in the Big Ten, but it's kind of cool because you've got some super powerhouse teams in different conferences.
Camp takes off on 3rd and 13 and will be stopped short by Reggie Hughes, the Ole Miss transfer. And now the punt unit comes out. Cole Maynard and company for Western Kentucky, and watch out for the punt block here. Jack State has been all over it. Dustin Fox has been calling for it. This would be the spot to send the cavalry.
I'm not their special teams coach, but if I am, I'm bringing it again.
Maynard just got it away across the 50, and Rudolph will let it bounce.
Ooh, very close to hitting a Jacksonville State return man. But nonetheless, it's going to be great field position. They'll get it inside Hilltopper territory. So the right decision to punt the football. They get it back nearly where they punted the ball away.
Best starting field position to the first half for Jack State, who still has not gotten into a rhythm in the pass game. But Dustin, they've been exceptional running the football. 130 yards on the ground already today. Fakes, and the throw is in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Jordan McCants.
Oh my goodness.
That could have been a house call for McCants.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not so sure he scores, but he's certainly in the red zone if he catches this football wide open. Goodness gracious. Kent Robinson probably makes that tackle around the 30.
Can't call the top route runner by Rich Rod. Pressure off the edge. And it forces a high throw for Cam Vaughn.
Near the far sideline, Matt.
Still conferring on that far sideline. Now Ty Helton is involved in the conversation.
Legal formation.
Brotherton.
Offense had more than 5 players in the backfield. That penalty's declined. It's 3rd down.
Has been a busy man in the first half. So after the declined penalty, 3rd and long for Jack State. Huff floats it out to Stewart. Makes one man miss. Stewart with a 1st down and more. Cutting inside the 20 and is ushered out of bounds after a gain of 25.
Holy cow, this effort by Stewart, and he gets a good block on the outside by 17 Sean Brown. You've got a defender then fall. He trips. Stewart gives him a little shimmy, and then he just toe taps down the sideline.
They're going hyper speed here. Back to Stewart. Will push ahead for 3.
Man, just what ability by Trey Stewart here on the outside of this run. Man, it looks like he's going to just go out of bounds, like pick up the 1st down, go out of bounds. He stays in bounds and goes all the way down to the 20.
On 3rd and long, no less. And now DeMarco Williams is down inside the 10 for the Western Kentucky defense. Williams a key piece to this secondary for Western, which brought in 4 transfers, him included, coming over from Ole Miss, making an immediate impact after switching from corner to safety in the middle of his collegiate career. And good to see him get up under his own power. And with that completed pass, Huff now the 4th quarterback in Conference USA history with at least 2,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in a single season. Rich Rodriguez recounted the story of how he met Tyler Huff to us this week. Huff in the portal, coming up from FCS level Furman, was out in Arizona performing his military duties, currently a 2nd lieutenant in the Army Reserve. They met at a Red Robin and spoke for 2 hours. And during that conversation, they both felt a strong connection to one another, both highly competitive, both big-time winners.
It's a pretty incredible story, how they met and how much, he means to this program, especially after, the start to the season. He has really sort of salvaged this year for the Gamecocks.
Toss to the edge, a chance to go, and it's shoved out of bounds. Nicely recovered by this Western Kentucky defense, but enough for a 1st down for Ron Wiggins. His 1st carry of the afternoon. And now Trey Stewart will come back in.
Did you become a sleuth and find out that it was a Red Robin? Or did you just throw that out there?
I could have sworn he said Red Robin.
He said Applebee's. He said it might have been Chili's. I thought you actually did a deep dive because that's how impressive your prep is.
Stewart will march into the end zone for a touchdown. That is a grown man run, and Stewart gives Jack State the lead.
Matt, it just seems like on that drive, Trey Stewart became a different back. Like, he became a guy that was possessed and carried them all the way down the field. And right there, goodness gracious, how difficult is that young man to tackle? And how happy are they that he's not playing Division II football right now, because he has been so impactful for this Jack State offense that leads Conference USA in rushing. And just like that, for as well as Western Kentucky has played, you know, they've given up a ton of yards to this point, but now it seems like the momentum may have shifted a little bit as they have the lead.
Trey Stewart's 20th rushing touchdown of the season. The Conference USA leader. And it gives Jackson State the lead when Dustin, their offense, really hadn't had much of a rhythm in this first half. They've relied heavily on the run all year, and it has not let them down in the first half. Over 140 yards on the ground. And now they lead it by 3.
Yeah, this is a Jacksonville State offense that averages nearly 40 points a game, Matt. To be held at 10 here with about 3 and change to go before halftime is rather impressive for the Hilltoppers.
Here's Easton Messer on the return, and he is stopped just across the 15. We've mentioned it a couple of times. Why not one more to end the first half? It's A&M, it's Texas, a rivalry renewed for the first time in 13 years. Top 20 showdown in College Station. And they've been partying all day with College Game Day on site early this morning. And it's been a bit of a quarterback carousel for both programs this year, namely because of the injuries to Ewers and Connor Weekman. But a massive game for both teams. And for Texas, you win that, you're in the SEC championship game. You're likely in the college football playoff with a top seed. Just over 3 minutes to go in the opening half. Western Kentucky staring at their first deficit of the game. Carry to Young. 3rd and short.
Jacksonville State just flies around. I mean, these guys, especially in the secondary, when they come up to tackle a running back, and certainly in this game, they have been so physical. You can just feel and hear the pads popping down there on the turf.
Western today just 1 for 7 on 3rd downs, and a timeout taken by Rich Rodriguez.
Jack State, they're first. 30 seconds and length.
Where are you going here if you're Ty Help?
I think it's very obvious you most likely would just run it with Elijah up the middle. However, the middle of that defensive line is very, very stout. And if everyone's thinking that they're going to obviously run the football on this 3rd and 1, Matt, I just think that potentially, how about a play action pass? How about take a shot in a situation like this? Because there's opportunities here, and if you're Western Kentucky, Matt, I think you have to try and find a way to get points here, because we know who gets the football to start the second half.
Well, and Jacksonville State has been so dominant in the run game.
Yeah.
You give them a lead going into the second half, plus the football with their rushing attack, top 3 in the country. Your chances start to look a little bit slimmer. It's a direct snap to Elijah Young. He goes up the middle, just like Dustin Fox called it. And that extends the drive on just the 2nd converted 3rd down of the day for Western Kentucky.
And now the hurry up will begin. You'd like to get another playoff here if you're Western Kentucky before the 2-minute timeout.
Timeout for injury to defense.
Well, Zechariah Poyser was down. Now he's going to come off the field completely under his own power, and they're going to resume play here with 2:17 to go, and they'll wind the clock. Western can get the playoff before the 2-minute timeout if they want.
This is a 2-minute timeout.
third down conversion keeps the drive alive for Ty Helton's offense. Down 3 at the end of the first half in Bowling Green. Everybody's favorite mascot, Big Red, here on the campus of Western Kentucky, celebrating a 45th birthday this weekend.
You know what's cool is if you're a student here at Western Kentucky, and by the way, happy birthday, Big Red. They have tryouts in April for students to portray Big Red. I'll finish that after this play.
Camp complete. Keyshawn Johnson out across the 50. And what a massive third down conversion that was just a couple of plays ago to keep the drive alive.
Absolutely huge. You come out of that 2-minute timeout. Obviously, you want to run your best play. You're trying to get points here before halftime. That's Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, just zone coverage and a lot of cushion in what appeared to be a little cover 2 on the outside.
Camp now over 100 yards passing in the first half. First down screen goes to Elijah Young. Cutting back across the 40 and lowers the shoulder inside the 35. Big time run by Elijah Young.
Matt,
and a gain of 18.
We're seeing 2 running backs here in Stewart and now Elijah Young, who would love to put their teams on their backs. And that is just a tremendous effort there, especially at the end, as he was essentially shot out of a cannon for the final couple of yards, diving forward.
Camp up the middle and takes an awkward dive for a gain of 1. Still 2 timeouts to work with for Western Kentucky. You are in field goal range for Lucas Carnero, who has made 11 in a row, including a 54-yarder against UTEP a few weeks ago.
Well, and also 2 timeouts left for Jacksonville State, depending on what happens here on second.
Second and long is caught by Keyshawn Johnson, who, as the first half has worn along, Dustin, has made more and more of an impact on the edge.
There is something going on here at the end of that play. A lot of jawing, a lot of something happening between Marco Baker, that's the corner, number 2, and of course Keyshawn Johnson, the receiver.
Timeout. Western Kentucky. That's their second. Game clock operator. Please reset the game clock to 51 seconds. 51 seconds. Thank you.
What a catch.
Yeah, fingertip grab. That's, I don't know what's being said prior to the snap, but Keyshawn Johnson just gets up, and it appeared like unsolicited, gets in the face of Marco Baker.
Johnson, top 5 in Conference USA in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, has been a major bright spot for this offense. And he's been getting into it a little bit with just about everybody on Jack State's defense in the first half.
He's got a little juice to him, and you're okay with that if you're Ty Helton until it crosses the line and you see a yellow handkerchief on the field.
3rd and 3, 51 seconds left in the opening half. Pressure. Camp flushed, and it's batted down. Incomplete. And now 4th down coming, and a decision for Ty Helton.
I think you have to attempt the field goal here with Lucas Carnero. Pretty consistent kicker, and you know, they felt like when they talked with us yesterday, Matt, if they got inside the 35-yard line, they'd be comfortable. Well, here you are inside the 30. Not much wind currently.
This from 45 on the right hash mark. And a flag before the snap.
Legal substitution. Kicking team had 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So now this will be from 50. Still within his range. Not a whole lot of wind to contend with at the moment.
The thing about Ty Helton, and when it comes to Carnera, his coach never has a doubt in terms of his mindset. He just knows he's always steady and locked in.
50-yarder to tie the game at 10. It is away. And it is good. Carnera drills it and owns the longest streak in program history with 12 consecutive made field goals.
Impressive drive by Western Kentucky to go all the way down the field after the momentum was stolen by Jacksonville State to tie this thing up. Both kickers respectively have made long field goals going the same direction. And we got a 10-10 ball game here. Now remember, Jacksonville State does have 2 timeouts left, and they have an explosive offense. One of the most explosive offenses in the entire country. I'm guessing they're here with a couple of timeouts, Matt, and a really good field goal kicker. Rich Rod knows he's going to get the football to start the second half, an opportunity potentially to double dip.
Riley Stevens will kick it away for Western Kentucky. It's a low liner. And Michael Petway will let this bounce out of bounds. So even better starting field position for Jack State.
Line. 1st and 10.
Well, and there you go. They only need 30 yards now to get inside the range for their kicker, Garrison Ripa.
Ripa's made 5 in a row, including a 46-yarder earlier in the game. Their offense has been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde in the first half. We've seen some sustained drives via success on the ground. We've also seen turnovers. 41 seconds to go. Here's Trey Stewart, and he is wrapped up immediately. Maybe a gain of 1. And a timeout by Jack State. Check that. There isn't going to be a timeout here. They're going to let this wind down.
I don't get that, especially because Western Kentucky only has a timeout. You could be aggressive on the first 2 plays of this drive and then see if you'd like to continue to be aggressive.
Off keeps.
Like now call timeout. You have to. Well, the problem is you wasted 20 seconds.
And I don't think they called a timeout there. There was a whistle that made it seem like they called a timeout.
Yeah, I thought I heard a whistle too.
But instead, Rich Rodriguez is content to go to half, tied at 10, in a game that means so much to both programs. Jack State's undefeated season on the line against Western Kentucky, who with a win is in the conference championship game. Halftime in Bowling Green. State in Western Kentucky. Jack State has already clinched home field advantage in the Conference USA title game on Friday. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky with a win in this game is in. It would be a rematch of our game here tonight. First half stats favor Jack State in terms of rushing yards. No surprise there. Outgaining Western Kentucky by over 100. And yet we are tied at 10 apiece. Part of that was timely turnovers forced by Western Kentucky in the first half. Matt Schumacher, Dustin Fox with you. How do you see this second half playing out between these two teams?
It was pretty even there in the first half in terms of the total yards. I think it's going to be interesting. Can they slow down? I'm talking about Western Kentucky. Can they slow down the rushing attack of Jacksonville State? They're going to get the football here to start the second half, and they have dominated on the ground, and that's what their MO has been. That's why they shouldn't throw the football. There's a pick in the first quarter, and that led to points for Western Kentucky. They go right down the field, a couple of really nice throws, and it's capped off by a screen pass to their top running back, Elijah Young. But then we talk about that Jacksonville State rushing attack. It really got cooking, I thought, Matt, in the second quarter when their guy, their stud, Trey Stewart, pretty much went off on that last couple of drives there as we kick off the second half from Bowling Green.
And a fair catch by Michael Petway. And so Tyler Huff, who did not attempt many passes in that first half, was just 3 for 9, will lead his Jack State offense back onto the field. And you referenced it at the end of the first half, Dustin. This Jack State offense has been not only one of the most explosive in Conference USA, but in the country. How can they get that going here in the second half, tied at 10?
I would just continue to do what you did there in the second quarter. That was take these chunk plays right there. The great hard ground game by Jacksonville State, Trey Stewart.
They are averaging nearly 320 rushing yards per game in conference play. That is most by a long shot, as Huff pulls it out and darts out across the 38 for a first down. Jack State winners of their last 8 games after starting the year 0-3. The longest win streak since 2017 when they were still at the FCS level. Here's a deep shot for Petway, and it's off his fingertips and incomplete. To Marco Williams in coverage. Petway had a couple of steps on him.
He did, and this football was thrown well. Oh, goodness. It goes off that right hand, but he does gets his fingertips on it. I always say, like, if you can get a fingertip on it and you're a receiver, you got to catch the football.
Huff will pull it down, and with room, scampers out of bounds after a gain of 6.
But it puts them in a position here, Matt, where they can have maybe 2 looks at a 3rd and short. Try to pick up that first down.
Third and 3. Jack State just 1 for 7 on 3rd down today. And that is in and out of the hands of their top receiver, Cam Vaughn. And it brings up 4th down.
Man, 2 drops by this Jacksonville State offense have become very costly here to start this second half.
I wonder how much the weather is affecting these wide receivers. A cold, breezy night here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and the punt unit is on for Jack State. They're caught inside the 20 by Katie Hutchinson.
Matt, it seems as though every time a drive has stalled for Jacksonville State, it has been because of incomplete passes. And when they run the football consistently, drives don't stall. So, you know, they get the first down, they come back, incomplete pass, and then here you go. Caden Veldkamp going to have the football here with 13 and change in the 3rd quarter.
Good response in the first half for Caden Veldkamp, coming off a loss to Liberty in which he had a season-high 3 interceptions. No picks in the first half, and led a long, sustained touchdown drive. Time here, gets his check down. It's Elijah Young, and they're going to give him forward progress in a gain of 2. It's something that we chatted about on their opening drive with Veldkamp. Was not their projected starter out of fall camp. Came in for TJ Finley due to injuries and just won over this team. And it is now starting in his arguably most important start of his college career with a spot in the championship game on the line.
You know, the kid won a high school state title before coming to Western Kentucky in this town, in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It is extremely rare for a quarterback to be a hometown kid starting for an FBS program, let alone Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's not the biggest town in the world.
On 3rd down, long throw across the middle is caught by Dalvin Smith for a first down.
No, and that's the difference. Dalvin Smith makes that catch. If Jacksonville State can make catches like that, they'd still have the football. Instead, they keep the drive alive here for the Hilltoppers.
Moving quickly, Veldkamp off the pump fake. It's Keyshawn Johnson. And they're going to give him 5 there after the tackle by Jameer Latimer. Yeah, that state championship won at South Warren High School, 8 miles from this stadium. Here's a little trickeration. Messer with the twirl back. Now Veldkamp buying time. And wisely got rid of it, but there's a flag that comes in on the near sideline by the line judge. Timing looked off on that play.
Yeah, it was really kind of a interesting call. I kind of like the call there in terms of where they're at on the field. Take the shot, try to do something.
Player downfield as the quarterback legally ground the ball out of bounds.
Okay.
Our referee, Reed Brotherton, picked up the flag. Well, now hang on a second.
Coach Helton's upset about something. Now there's another conversation by the officials around the 30-yard line.
Yeah, Terry Woodford, the back judge, came sprinting in. And had more to say to Reed Brotherton.
Rule in the field is an incomplete pass. It's 3rd down.
Well, we've cleaned
I don't
that
know
up.
what just happened. All that I know is that it's 3rd and 7.
And that's all you need to know sometimes, partner. Veldkamp with Elijah Young in the backfield. Jack State showing pressure. They bring it up the middle. Veldkamp is complete to Messer at midfield for a first down and a gain of 10.
Big time throw, big time catch. Pressure's coming in the face of Veldkamp, and he's able to deliver the football on time for the first down. And again, 2 back-to-back huge 3rd down conversions that keeps this drive alive.
Double pass. Smith heaves. It is caught. Caught by Noah Myers.
My goodness. Noah Myers has some ridiculous concentration to make this catch. They're going to hurry up to make sure that he did secure the ball. But Latimer gets in there right on time.
What a throw by the former high school quarterback Dalvin Smith. And there is Young going head over heels. Upended by Zechariah Poyser and a first down.
You said it, head over heels.
That's a pretty athletic play by
Kind of
Elijah
looked fun,
Young.
to be honest with you.
It did look fun.
Yeah.
On a brisk night in Bowling Green, and getting colder by the minute as sun has fallen in the second half. And yet again, Western Kentucky in the red zone. Veldkamp, QB power. And lowers the shoulder out across the 12 after the tackle by Fred Perry. Chunk play after chunk play here for the Hilltoppers. Veldkamp one-on-one on the edge. And incomplete, looking for Smith. And well defended by Fred Davis.
So it brings up a 3rd and 2. I think they take the shot on that 2nd and 2 because they know it's such a short yardage situation here on 3rd down. And Who knows? I mean, potentially go for it. I know points are vital, especially with this very productive drive. You definitely would like to come away with something here. And they've got a heavy formation. This may be a direct snap.
It is. Young wiggling, goes over the top again and has a first down. The acrobatics of Elijah Young keep the drive alive for Western.
It's like Elijah Young is trying to play a different sport here. I mean, goodness. Leaving his feet multiple times, and it's just a very dangerous play that works out for the Hilltoppers in the end. You know, you got Carter and Poyser both coming in there to upend Elijah Young. Now 1st and goal.
Veldkamp pulls it out. Was that pass caught? No, incomplete, as Messer tried to keep his feet in bounds.
The level of difficulty on some of these conversions they've had on this drive have been off the charts.
It has been a long first drive of the second half for Western Kentucky. 13th play coming for Caden Veldkamp. On 2nd and goal, will keep. It is difficult to run up the spine of this Jack State defense with Lalette Hale and Reggie Hughes.
Well, they're probably a little nervous here in terms of, like, let's not turn the football over inside the 10-yard line. They've shown that the last couple of plays they're totally fine with Veldkamp running the football.
Veldkamp will run. That is tackled short of the goal line by about 2.5 yards. Talon Carter, the true freshman, forces the special teams unit to come on for Western Kentucky.
You hate to have to kick this if you're Western Kentucky, but you do. I mean, the fact remains your defense has played extremely well, and you hold Jacksonville State on their opening drive. You're halfway through the 3rd quarter and you may have the lead. The goal for Western Kentucky was, Matt, when we talked with Ty Helton, is to get to the 4th about halfway through and have yourself a chance to win the game.
Carnero right down the middle has now made 13 in a row and gives Western the lead again. In a must-win game, final home game and senior night in Bowling Green.
Welcome back to Bowling Green, Kentucky. 13-10 as the Hilltoppers are on top of Jacksonville State.
I almost just lost a tooth on a frozen protein bar.
Well, I saved your tail.
It's cold, folks. Feels colder than 36.
It is, and you know, we come back from break and we find a heater in a closet in the booth here, so I feel like a player again.
I think you were tougher as a player.
I wasn't tough then, and I'm not tough now. How about that?
Well, Western Kentucky's playing Jack State tough.
They are.
Remember,
nice
this
segue.
is a team that has won 8 in a row, longest win streak since 2017. And under the tutelage of Rich Rodriguez, 18-2 in conference games, dating back to the FCS era. Of course, this is just their 2nd season as an FBS program, and have already solidified their spot in the Conference USA Championship game, which will be held on their home turf in Jacksonville, Alabama on Friday. 2nd drive of the half for Tyler Huff and Jack State. And Huff's banged up after the tackle by Devin Lynch.
Official timeout for an injury to the offense.
Oh, he's in a lot of pain, Matt.
A tough kid, in the words of his head coach, Rich Rodriguez.
Time out in the field.
Wants the ball in his hands. And now Rich Rodriguez is going to walk out to see his starting quarterback. This is the play that sent him to the turf. The hit by Devin Lynch. We will check on Huff when we return. A hold your breath moment for Jack State fans here in Bowling Green and across the country watching this game right now as their starting quarterback Tyler Huff was helped off the field walking gingerly after the tackle by Devin Lynch. And now the backup Logan Smothers, the second-year transfer from Nebraska, will take over the controls. Really, for the first time since week 1, he's been used sparingly in the run game throughout the season, but has not attempted a pass since August 29th against Coastal Carolina. And he comes in for 2nd and 4. Pressure off the edge. And Stewart is blown up in the backfield. Check that, it was Wiggins who took the carry and a loss of 3.
And a tough spot to be Logan Smothers, to come into a game. You're ice cold on the sidelines. You know, you're playing in 30-degree temps, and now you're forced to have a passing situation.
Smothers will pass and completes it to Wiggins, trying to spin out of trouble. Got awfully close to the first down marker. They're going to say he's about 1.5 yards short.
Yeah, and it's so close, and Rich Rod would probably love to be able to go for that now, but you just can't, not at the 34-yard line. 38-yard line, excuse me.
Still being tended to in the injury tent on Jacksonville State sideline. Meanwhile, the punt unit is out. Jack Dawson booting it away. Fair caught by Katie Hutchinson just inside his own 40. And the first drive of the second half for Western was picture perfect.
Yeah, they go all the way down the field, and they take about 6 and change off the clock, but they only come away with 3 points. So it kind of felt like that was a win for Jacksonville State, even though they gave up a ton of yards. However, you just got your starting quarterback hurt on this last drive. So Western Kentucky's probably feeling pretty confident here. They've got the ball, they've got the lead, and there's only 6 minutes left in the third quarter. So they're thinking, hey, we are close enough to potentially win this game and put themselves in the conference championship.
Veldkamp looking for a deep shot. Can't hit his man. Now will chuck it away. Great poise by the redshirt sophomore from right here in Bowling Green. Of course, last night was Sam Houston beating Liberty by 2. That allowed Western Kentucky to be in this position of holding their own destiny in their hands. A win and they're in to the conference championship game next week against Jack State. Veldkamp under pressure, just had to heave it. Incomplete, but the flag comes in. Jabari Mack with the coverage on Michael Matheson. Will this be pass interference?
No, I think it's got to be pass interference. I'm just a little confused because the defender did get his head turned around.
Number 4, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And Jabari Mack, let's take a look here. It's that right arm that gets hooked around. I don't know. I don't love that call.
Well, instead of 3rd and 10, it's now 1st and 10 from midfield as Elijah Young dances ahead for 6 or 7. And a pre-snap penalty. False start on Western.
Offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Quandravius Leslie, the left guard, moved a little early there. And it backs up Western Kentucky 5 yards. Young will get 5 back and make it 3rd and short after the tackle by Fred Perry.
Matt, I said to you during the half as I was trying to warm myself up, I don't know how these guys are going to come out in the second half and tackle. And Jacksonville State specifically defensively have just been running around with their hair on fire. Like, just absolutely cracking their pads, man.
There's a big pile up near the line to gain after the first carry of the night for Jalen Hampton. This is going to be just a bit short. Are you going for it here if you're Ty Helton?
I don't even think there's a conversation. It's not even a yard. The only question that you have here for Western Kentucky is do you consider at all not doing what everybody thinks you're going to do? And I think they may just do a little quarterback sneak here.
3 tight ends for the best 4th down offense in the conference.
Oh my goodness, come on.
Caden Veldkamp just had to smother it, and Jack State comes away with a 4th down stop.
You know, I do think, Matt, in that situation, Caden Veldkamp was trying to draw the defense off sides, and there was some confusion. He fumbled the snap. Just absolutely brutal for Western Kentucky.
Three-point lead for Western Kentucky. Caden Veldkamp lucky to get on top of that fumble on this last 4th down and short. Just a bobbled exchange with the center, Evan Wibberly, and that gives it back to Jack State's offense. And it is still Logan Smothers, although we did see Tyler Huff walk out of the injury tent and was in that last huddle coming out of commercial break, as Smothers is smothered short of the 40, no gain on the tackle by Marco. Check that. On the tackle by Terrence Ellis.
Well, Huff is out of the injury tent. Take a look back at the injury there. That left ankle gets rolled up on. I don't know if they're going to put him back in the game or not, Matt.
Here's Trey Stewart. And he is strung out, and there is Ellis again, lowering the shoulder to make the play.
Well, you got to get the sense here that Western Kentucky understands that your backup quarterback's in the game, and that the strength of the football team is running the rock. So they're going to stack the box, and they're going to force Jacksonville State to put the football in the hands of Logan Smothers.
Penetration up the middle. Stewart on the swing pass is stopped short. Terrence Ellis yet again with Keyshawn Swanson. And will this be another quick 3 and out for Jack State? Yes, the punt unit is coming on for Rich Rod's team. Seventh punt of the night for Jack State. Jack Dawson booting it away. Hutchinson will let it flutter to the 15. Well, in case you've been living under a rock, coming up tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ABC. We cap off the night with number 3 Texas, number 20 Texas A&M in College Station. Dare I say the biggest game of the year at Texas A&M? As we take a look around the college football landscape, And countdown to the CFP National Championship brought to you by AT&T. First meeting in 13 years. One of the great rivalries in college football renewed tonight on the national landscape with major SEC and CFP implications for both teams. Veldkamp on first down. All kinds of time. And incomplete in the vicinity of Easton Messer.
And Western Kentucky is, you know, for as much as Coach Helton said that they want to maybe not throw it, you know, 30 to 40 times a game, they have thrown it quite a bit. And I'm a little surprised because there's 2 minutes left here in the third quarter, and you are sort of controlling the time of possession, which is what they wanted to do coming in.
That was the 32nd pass attempt tonight by Caden Veldkamp. He has completed 56%. Pressure picked up. Veldkamp dumps it down to Young with room. Young with a first down and more across the 30. And Young is across the 40 with a gain of 29.
Well, they blitz off the right side, and what a phenomenal blitz pickup in the backfield. Stonewalled.
Official timeout for an injury.
And then, of
defense.
course, Elijah Young is out the gate for the first down. Fred Perry was the defensive back blitzing, and he was the one stonewalled.
And Perry, I believe, is down at midfield. Jack State's second leading tackler behind only Antonio Carter. And it's good to see Perry get up from his backside. So this Western Kentucky offense starting to find a rhythm here in the second half. Only scoring drive so far since halftime led to a field goal. But Dustin, you just get the sense that as this game wears along and Western continues to make these conversion downs successful, you're really squeezing the game for Jack State.
Yeah, they are. You just feel like if you're Western, you've got to get another score, because 3 points against a Jacksonville State team that has proven time and time again that they can win close games. I don't think you're going to be comfortable until this is 20-10.
That's a great point. 8-game win streak for Jack State. Their last 4 have been decided by 10 points or less. Rich Rodriguez telling us what he's learned about his team over that stretch. We don't panic. Down 3 with a minute to go in the third quarter. And the carry to LT Sanders. Brings up third down.
Heck of a job inside by Reginald Hughes, number 5, to get off a block, shed, and make the tackle in the hole. And they have been, talking about Western Kentucky, they've been so good on third down today. It seems like every time their backs are against the wall, they come up with a big time conversion.
Converted 2 of them on their last drive, which resulted in a field goal. 5 for 14 tonight. And now a 3rd and 4 from midfield. Veldkamp hits his man. It is Keyshawn Johnson, enough for a first down. And that may take us to the 4th in Bowling Green. Caden Veldkamp in his biggest start at Western Kentucky. Hometown kid. Senior night, final home game, and a trip to the Conference USA Championship game on the line. He is balling in the second half. And a 3-point lead for WKU. as we head to the fourth. Welcome back to Bowling Green, Kentucky, as we get set to start the fourth. Tyler Huff went down midway through the third. The starting quarterback for Jacksonville State. We have not seen him since. Meanwhile, the redshirt sophomore starting QB for Western Kentucky, Caden Veltkamp, has done everything that Ty Helton has asked of him and more, leading a drive with a couple of third down conversions on their second drive of the second half. Screen play goes to Messer, and he gets up to about the 40 and a gain of 7. And one of the things that Ty Helton told us in our call this week, when it came to Caden Veltkamp, he's a pro. A cool, calm, confident demeanor. It's been on display in the second half. 2nd and 3. Elijah Young squirts ahead for a first down.
Just right inside, gets another good block by the tight end, Noah Myers, who's been all over the field today, not just with his blocking, but also has a huge reception as well. Matt, it's interesting when you look at Western Kentucky today. This was their 6th drive that has begun inside the 20-yard line, and they've continued to have long, sustained drives. 2 of those drives that start inside their own 20, they've scored points on. So time of possession has been dominated by the Toppers.
Plus 10 in that category and counting, with 13 minutes to go in the game and a 3-point lead. 3-man rush on 2nd and 10. Veltkamp hits his man, the tight end, Noah Myers, for a first down. And how about the play of Noah Myers, their 3rd string tight end, getting the start for the 4th straight week due to injuries.
And it's hard to believe how he gets that open, that wide open down the seam.
Carry to Sanders. Flags comes in late. And we'll see about this from Reed Brotherton.
During the run, holding, offense number 71. 10-yard penalty to the previous spot. Repeat first down.
That holding call on the left tackle, Stacy Wilkins.
Wilkins left side. Yeah, it just, it certainly affected the play. It's a holding call there on the inside. Curly Young, 41, was the defender trying to make the tackle, who gets held up.
1st and goal from just inside the 20. And a timeout by Western Kentucky, their first.
Western Kentucky, their first. Timeout in the field.
We will take the timeout with them. Western Kentucky driving when we return in Bowling Green. Not a bigger game in Bowling Green, Kentucky this season than the one here tonight against Jacksonville State. Win and you're in scenario for Ty Helton, whose team has already clinched bowl eligibility for the 6th consecutive year in his tenure, and now trying to finish the job tonight with a 3-point lead on Jacksonville State and 12.5 minutes to go in regulation. 1st and goal from just inside the 20 after the holding penalty on Stacy Wilkins. And a few on 1st down for Elijah Young. Fred Perry made the stop.
Still a long way to go in this game, and a long way to go for this drive. But boy, that holding penalty, it seems to be really looming large right now.
Fake it to Messer. Sets up the screen and almost intercepted by Curly Young.
They have loved that backside screen and trying to take advantage of an overly aggressive defense. Watch on the left side as you'll see the pressure come off the left with Curly Young Jr. 41 who just jumps in the air, but he gets both hands on the ball. Could he make that pick? Sure. Would it have been extremely difficult? Absolutely.
Sets up 3rd and goal from beyond the 15.
I'm sort of surprised that the secondary is playing so tight to the line of scrimmage and allowing receiver to run wide open to the end zone and nearly catch it right there.
Wow. Keyshawn Johnson was open. The throw was short.
Oh, yeah. Wide open. I was just casually talking as I couldn't believe what was happening. Sorry, partner. I took your job for a second.
You were responding in real time.
Yeah, because I was like, I couldn't believe, I was like in disbelief that they would play that coverage on a 3rd and goal from the 17. I mean, that's a situation where you just put your defenders like heels on the goal line and potentially just rush 3.
Meanwhile, that's Zechariah Poyser down for Jacksonville State, maybe cramping here as he's being tended to by the training staff. They've been busy in the second half. That kind of looks like a cramp to me, his left calf.
Yeah, and some people say, like, how can you cramp when it's 35 degrees? And I'll tell you right now, it ain't about the weather. It's not about the cold. It's about the magnitude of the situation, and the adrenaline gets pumping, and that's when those muscles start to go. I've had many issues with those throughout the years of my playing career.
Here is Lucas Carnero from 35. His 3rd attempt of the night. And it is good. His 14th consecutive made field goal makes it a touchdown game in Bowling Green.
With the exciting fall and winter seasons rolling along, Conference USA on ESPN Plus is your exclusive home for more than 900 games and events. It's also the destination for Conference USA championships. For a limited time, new and returning ESPN Plus subscribers can get 12 months for the price of 9. Just visit ESPNplus.com for more info. Well, got a tight one in the 4th quarter, Mr. Schumacher. Jacksonville State without their starting quarterback. I'll be interested to see, because they were playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game the last possession. He was in the huddle. He was out of the tent. I guess I just wonder, do you put him back in a game like this when you have locked up hosting the conference championship 6 days from today?
Well, we're about to get the answer to that question. And it looks like he is going to remain on the sideline as Logan Smothers, his backup, returns to the field.
Yeah, Huff is right there in the huddle, but you just watch him. He's so ginger on that left ankle.
And he went down midway through the 3rd, and since then they have had very little momentum on offense. Again, such a big part of what this team likes to do, and that's run the football.
He barely had the ball in the second half.
Smothers going to take a shot here down the middle of the field. It is caught by Michael Petway inside the 30, and the biggest pass play of the night for Jacksonville State.
You've got to be kidding me. This is all Michael Petway, who goes up and just snags this out of the air. The ball floated forever, Matt. It seemed like this could have been picked off right in the back end.
47-yard completion. They go right back to the air, and it's Cam Vaughn with the completion.
Man, that has ignited the sideline for Jacksonville State, and the players seem to have a little bit more energy here as well as they're approaching the red zone.
Smothers will keep, and he's wrapped up by Terrence Ellis. Remember, all three drives in the second half to this point have resulted in punts for Jack State. To get that pass from a guy who sat on the bench the entire first half in 36-degree weather, remarkable from Logan Smothers.
Yeah, and I'll give him credit, no doubt about that. But for Petway in these conditions to go up there, I mean, he just said, I'm going to make a play. And when you have that mentality, that's what happens.
Oh, Trey Stewart making plays, lowering the shoulder, popping pads to move the chains.
Now, speaking of that mentality, that young man right there is running wild.
70 yards tonight with a rushing TD.
Kyle Brandt would like him on some angry runs.
1st and 10 from inside the 20. Smothers keeps, has a blocker. Smothers to the end zone. Tie game in Bowling Green.
Logan Smothers is playing himself a heck of a game, being called
For an injury.
up from the bench. Hasn't really played much at all this season. Started 6 games a year ago, and now an opportunity to lead this offense in this Jacksonville State football team to the conference championship while potentially eliminating Western Kentucky. Still a lot of football to go, a big PAT to ensue here. But for an offense that has been pretty much stifled today, and certainly here in the second half, that Matt Schumacher may wake this football team up. That was explosive.
99 passing yards for the game for Jacksonville State. Most of them coming on that touchdown drive, led by Logan Smothers, and now Garrison Ripa on for the go-ahead point after attempt. And Jacksonville State takes the lead.
In a game that's been dominated, time of possession by Western Kentucky, just like that. The Gamecocks take the lead right back. We got a fun one here from Bowling Green. Well, to go in the foxhole, you got to be somebody who's ready to go when called upon, and Logan Smothers has absolutely answered the bell, especially with that last drive. Forced into action here in the second half, comes up with a huge throw to Petway down the field, and then just calls his own number. Gets a great block on the outside by Sean Brown, and with that run, we'll throw Mr. Smothers in the foxhole with some great competitors.
Dustin, he completed a 47-yard pass down the gut of the defense. His first game throwing the football since week 1.
How about that?
August 29th against Coastal Carolina. What a job by Logan Smothers to help Jack State regain the lead. 17-16, 9:44 to go in Bowling Green. Easton Messer is out across the 20. And that is where Caden Veldkamp and the Hilltopper offense will take over. And they've had some good drives, though none have resulted in touchdowns. 3 made field goals tonight for Lucas Carnero, including a 50-yarder. First and 10. Veldkamp is taken down in the backfield by Lalette Hale.
I've just been so impressed the way that Jacksonville State plays defense, Matt. Regardless of the situation they've been put in, these guys have been flying around tonight.
Deep shot, open man.
Oh my goodness.
And overshot Michael Matheson, who had nothing but the end zone in front of him.
Bookmark that one. If they're not able to come back and regain the lead, because this is just a busted coverage. You've got the defender, the corner at the top. Based on what everyone else was playing, should have been playing deep third zone. And he stays in the flat. And then, of course, your middle of the field safety right there ends up being Latimer. And he's looking around for help.
Rich Rodriguez just called a timeout. He was hot after that blown coverage. Lucky to get out of that one without allowing a touchdown.
Yeah, and here's why this is so interesting. Timeouts in a game like this are going to be so crucial. He feels that this play could be so vital to the game's outcome that he wants to get his guys on the same page. 3rd and 13, like, this is a play you must get off the field. And he just saw his secondary get torched here in the back end, as you see, again, a busted coverage on the outside. And Coach Rodriguez, I think that tells the story.
Well, this year, Western Kentucky has not been one of the more proficient third down offenses in this conference, but tonight they've converted 6 times on 16 tries, including a handful already in the second half. Can Caden Veldkamp dial up some magic yet again on 3rd and long?
Well, dialing up the pressure has been Luke Olson, their defensive coordinator. Will he do it on 3rd and 13? Just a 4-man rush.
Veldkamp buying time. Floats it downfield, looking for Matheson, and it's caught at midfield. What a grab over Fred Davis for a gain of 32. But there is a flag.
And it's going to be a hold, I believe, against Western Kentucky.
Offense, number 78. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 3rd down.
Wow.
The left guard, Quanravius Leslie, with his 2nd hold of the game. None bigger than that one, negating a 32-yard completion.
Yeah, pretty obvious call on the left side of the offensive line. What a play, though. I mean, yeah, the hold, it brings it back. But the effort by Matheson, the transfer from Akron, just coming up with a huge play there. But they're going to need another one here on 3rd and Nashville.
About an hour south of Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's a draw to Young. No, to George Hart, rather, and he is spun down well short of the line to gain, and the punt unit will come out for Western Kentucky.
Somehow, Jacksonville State escapes that drive unscathed, and somewhere there's some Bearcat fans, you know, just outside of Houston, looking at this game thinking, boy, man, did we maybe catch a break there.
Long punt will bounce inside the 35. Sam Houston, of course, won last night against Liberty. And if Western Kentucky cannot get the win tonight, it'll be Sam Houston playing Jack State next week. There was a flag down back by the line of scrimmage during the play.
Personal foul. Receiving team number 40. 15-yard penalty. 1st and 10, Jack State.
looks like there's going to be a little extracurricular here at the end of the play. Couple of punches there to get you off of me, and that'll be 15 yards on the back end.
Well, Monday night, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, they'll be in the Mile High City for our Week 13 Monday Night Football matchup. It's the Browns and the Broncos, 8 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Final 7:52 to go here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Jack State has already clinched a spot in the Conference USA Championship game at home on Friday, December the 6th. With a win tonight, Western Kentucky would actually face them again in that title game. But if Jack State comes away with their 9th straight win, it would be Sam Houston in the title game after their 2-point victory over Liberty last night. Still a lot to be decided over these final 7 minutes and change. Logan Smothers has changed the trajectory of this game. The backup quarterback after the injury to Tyler Huff midway through the third, as Trey Stewart is dragged down after a gain of 2. And this has been the MO of Jack State during this 8-game win streak, Dustin. Few of those have been blowouts, but the last 4 have not. They've had to find different ways to grind out wins.
Yeah, the Sam Houston game a week ago was an absolute grind, 21-11. Heck, the FIU game was a grind as they win that one by 3. And don't remind folks about the La Tech game that came down to a Hail Mary to go to overtime. Don't remind Sonny Cumbie about that one.
La Tech's been on the wrong end of a couple of those late game heroics by opponents. Last 4 have all been decided by 10 points or less and an average margin of victory of 7.5. And now a big 3rd down looming for Rich Rodriguez's offense. Smothers to the air, looking for Vaughn. It is caught at midfield. Diving grab by the leading wide receiver.
They're going to say incomplete, Matt.
Wow.
They're going to say it hit the ground.
It's an incomplete pass. It's 4th down.
And Vaughn hobbly as he gets to his feet.
Be a great look.
Did not survive. In and out.
A for effort.
That close, Dustin, from extending the drive.
Let's give Kent Robinson some kudos there, because that young man didn't give up on the play and played that to the very last second to the ground, is able to get that forearm to come and separate from the football.
Katie Hutchinson catches it at his own 45 after a punt of 34 by Dawson. And Cam Vaughn so close to making the big play at midfield, and instead Western Kentucky's going to get another crack at this down 1.
Boy, so many folks probably on pins and needles right now, just looking at the clock. 6:34 to go. And so many different people are going to be affected by the last 6 minutes of this game.
Sam Houston included. Elijah Young showing patience and twists ahead, and now the pile moves a little bit more, and it's a gain of 8 on 1st down across midfield.
What an effort here by Elijah Young, and give the offensive linemen and everyone else credit for pushing bodies. And that's going to be a 1st down, I believe, Matt.
If not, it's just a nose short. And they're going to say it's 3rd down, less than a yard to go. As Elijah Young now has over 90 yards rushing tonight. Four down territory for Western.
Yes. And they may need it, Matt.
4th and a long yard now for the Hilltoppers.
You got an injury.
For an injury to the defense.
I believe that's the Notre Dame transfer Antonio Carter down. This helps Western Kentucky a little bit. You don't have to burn a timeout. You get to talk about this next play. 4th and 1 upcoming.
To that very same point, it gives Jacksonville State a chance to figure out what they would like to do here. And let's not forget, the last time they had a 4th and short like this, Veldkamp got under center. He tried to draw the defense off sides. And then there was just like some confusion as to whether the ball was going to be snapped or not. And their center, Evan Wibberly, snaps the football. I don't know if it was on time or not, but they fumbled it, is the point, and Jacksonville State recovered.
Western Kentucky all year has had one of the best 4th down offenses in the conference. They have converted on 4th down 17 times coming into the weekend.
Let's go back and just take a quick peek at that last 4th and 1. This is what happened here. So clearly that's in the back of Ty Helton's mind, and also Rich Rodriguez, as this is going to be a very interesting decision on 4th and a little less than a yard.
Flag comes in. Veldkamp lofts it downfield, and it is caught by his tight end, Noah Myers. Now we will see what the flag is about from Reed Brotherton.
Legal formation. Offense had more than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
On their last drive, Dustin, they had a completion on 3rd and long that was called back by a holding penalty. This one, a long completion on 4th down, called back by a legal formation. And now the punt unit is forced to come out for Ty Helton. Mistakes in the critical moments for the Hilltoppers. And the football will go back to Jack State. And they will start with it at their own 13 after the fair catch by Flip Rudolph. Well, here's our College Football Award Spotlight, brought to you by the Home Depot, featuring the Davey O'Brien Award. You can tune in to the Home Depot College Football Award Show Thursday, December 12th, 9 p.m. on ESPN. Dylan Gabriel having an exceptional season. His Oregon Ducks, the projected #1 overall seed in the college football playoff. Shadur Sanders lighting up Oklahoma State this weekend, 52-0. And Cam Ward in a dogfight right now up in Syracuse, New York.
Does he have, I was going to say, does he have another Heisman moment in him? But we just got word that they lost the game.
Just went final. Syracuse Orange with the upset in the ACC regular season finale.
Now you're in a position for Jacksonville State where obviously 1st downs are so important. But the most important thing is securing the football, because you're only up a point, and we've already seen that the kicker for Western Kentucky, Lucas Carnero, has been absolutely money tonight.
He has made all 3 of his attempts, including a 50-yarder. He would love one more chance to win the game for Western in a game they must have. Smothers sprinting left, has a 1st down, and he's twisted out of bounds at the 30 by Keyshawn Swanson.
What a play design this is. You completely fool Western Kentucky. You bring P.J. Wells across the formation. I frankly thought for a moment he was going to just toss the ball to number 13. He doesn't, and it allows just enough hesitation by the Hilltoppers for Smothers to get around the end and pick up the 1st down. Clock is ticking under 3:20.
This is a veteran savvy second half by Logan Smothers off the bench for the injured Tyler Huff.
Corner blitz, the perfect call right there, Matt. You bring the corner cat blitz, it's a run blitz, get him for a loss.
And that was the old teammate of Trey Stewart, Chandler Matthews, both transferring up from Division II Limestone College. And that makes it 2nd and 11. 2-minute timeout looming. And 2 timeouts left for both teams. Back to Stewart. Running through arm tackles. And a timeout taken by Ty Helton there before the 2-minute timeout.
Well, it's a smart timeout.
30 seconds remaining.
Because essentially what it does here is you force Jacksonville State basically to run the ball, because there's 2:17. Okay, there's not enough time for Jacksonville. Like, if Jacksonville State throws the football and it's incomplete, you're just bailing out Western Kentucky, basically giving them a free timeout. So you're putting the ball in their court to make a tough decision here. So I love that timeout call before the 2-minute warning. It's the right call.
And if Western gets a stop here, they maintain a timeout.
Exactly.
When they get the football back with about 2 minutes to play in the 4th quarter.
Which is why you called the timeout there.
Ty Helton coaching for a spot in the CUSA title game on Friday. Win and you're in, lose and it's Sam Houston's opportunity against Jack State on December 6th. 3rd and 6. Smothers keeps, and he's brought down. Big time tackle by Sebastian Benjamin, the 2nd-year FCS transfer. And that will take us to the 2-minute timeout in Bowling Green.
This is a 2-minute timeout in the field.
A punt coming up, and Western Kentucky with a timeout remaining and 2 minutes left, down 1 in a must-win game. Well, after the big 3rd down stop by Western Kentucky, Rich Rodriguez sends his punt unit out for the 8th time tonight, and will give the football back to Ty Helton's Western Kentucky Hilltoppers with 2 minutes and 1 timeout in a must-win game to clinch their spot in the Conference USA title against Jack State on December the 6th. Jack Dawson's punt is away. Hutchinson back to receive. And Fair catches it inside the 25. And he thought there should have been a flag there with some interference. Nonetheless, Caden Veldkamp, partner, has been terrific tonight, the redshirt sophomore.
He's thrown for probably more attempts than he thought coming into the game. Would have to throw, but the throws he's made have been money. You know, he's hit some big time dimes down the field, and you know, here we go. 22 of 39, just the 1 touchdown, but the game is on the line. It's on the back of Caden Veldkamp here at home for these 27 seniors. Can they get to the conference title?
Veldkamp's going to take a shot on 1st down. He was looking for Keyshawn Johnson. A lot of contact there both ways. No flags.
Well, this game is tight, and no matter how much contact there is either way, Western Kentucky fans are going to be asking for flags all the way down the field if they can get it, and that's a good no call. Little cat and mouse game here before this 2nd and 10.
Veldkamp with time, now surveying, zips it down to Hutchinson. You're going to say he made the catch for a gain of 5.
Clock continues to roll. Remember, Western just 1 timeout, obviously in 4-down territory the rest of the way. Taking plenty of time.
3rd and 5. 3-man rush. Veldkamp, dart, Hutchinson caught, first down, and the clock will stop as they move the chains. Remember, Lucas Carnero, their exceptional kicker, has made 14 in a row as a Jack State defender goes down. Right as WKU was lining up to snap that ball. And I believe it's J-Rock Swain. No, I take that back. It is Jawan Campbell, the true freshman who went down and is gripping that left leg.
There is no 10-second runoff since the result of the play was a first down.
Ty Helton has a tremendous weapon at his disposal. That is Lucas Carnero, the preseason Conference USA Special Teams Player of the Year, who has already made 3 in this game, including a 50-yarder to tie it at 10 apiece at the end of the first half.
It's just so tough in college football to rely upon a kicker in a situation like this. I mean, I know that you're down a point. You'd love to be able to win the game on a field goal, but you'd like to get it in a position where you don't have to do that, whether it be a much shorter kick or just score a touchdown. Nonetheless, Western Kentucky is absolutely in business here, Matt. Minute 12 to go. They got 1 timeout. And Jacksonville State trying to hang on and eliminate Western Kentucky from conference title.
1st and 10 from the 35. Veldkamp underneath. Young will bring it out to about the 50 and a gain of 15. What a night by Elijah Young to move the chains.
Yeah, Elijah Young came to play tonight. This guy is just running like a man possessed.
And a flag's going to come in here. Maybe a false start.
It is.
Gosh, the penalties have killed Western Kentucky in the second half.
Maybe not. There's a conversation here.
We're going to hear from the referee, Reed Brotherton.
False start. Offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It'll be first down. The foul caused the running clock to stop. Therefore, there's a 10-second runoff. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 43 seconds. 43 seconds.
And the real killer there, Dustin, is the 10-second runoff, because WKU doesn't want to burn their final timeout.
You want to save that for the field goal attempt.
So now it's a 5-yard penalty. You're behind the chains, and 43 seconds
and the
after
clock,
the 10-second runoff.
The clock starts now.
Pressure off the edge. Veldkamp underneath. Caught by Hutchinson. Fighting for extra yards. Short of the first down. Time continues to wind down. Less than 30 seconds to go. Western with 1 timeout. They are inching closer to field goal range for Lucas Carnero.
Why didn't they spike it there? I'm surprised.
Veldkamp is caught by Johnson. First down. Now do they get to the line quickly here and spike it? Veldkamp is signaling for a spike, trying to get his offense lined up. And that seemed to be real wonky. The chain gang was not set yet. There wasn't a whistle to resume play.
It was bizarre. Yeah, the clock started. It seemed like it started maybe a second or two late.
2 seconds did come off the clock there. And they're going to say it's 2nd and 10. Remember, the 35-yard line is the target line for Lucas Carnero.
I would bring a lot of pressure here and hope that you can get home and maybe get a sack.
They do bring pressure, picked up by Young. Pass is caught by Hutchinson. And now they are inside the 35 with 8 seconds left and 1 timeout.
Well, here's what I would do, Matt. And this goes back to our game we called on Tuesday
Game clock
night.
operator, please reset the game clock
At
to 9
Akron.
seconds, please. 9 seconds.
They're going to put one more second on the clock, Dustin.
I would run the ball to wherever you want to set up the kick to. Maybe you pick up a few yards, 5 yards, whatever it may be, then you can hit the timeout.
3rd and 5. Pressure from Jack State. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Hutchinson.
Now you have to kick it on this 4th and 5. I don't know about that decision there on that 3rd down, Matt. You could have picked up some maybe positive yards on the ground. You could call timeout.
7 seconds, please. 7 seconds.
They're going to add 2 more seconds to the game clock as Lucas Carnero sets up for what would be the game-winning 50-yard field goal. And now a timeout by Rich Rodriguez and Jack State.
Timeout. Jack State. Their second. 30 seconds only.
Well, Lucas Carnero is perfect from 50+ this year. 4 for 4, including one made earlier tonight to tie the game at 10 apiece. He has made a program record 15 in a row, including 3 here tonight. None bigger than this one looming to send Western Kentucky into the conference championship game next week. Win and you're in, lose and you're out. It all comes down to this kick for Ty Helton's kicker, Lucas Carnero, from 50. For the lead. Up and away. It is good! Good! From 50! Bedlam in Bowling Green, Kentucky!
That was so close to just drifting off to the right, and for whatever reason, the English that Carnero put on the football, it just came right back inside. You know, just like that perfect drive. It comes right back to the fairway. You love that.
What a night for Lucas Carnero.
Had a draw on it, right, Matt?
Has made 4 in a row, including 2 from 50+. And now the lead with the final 3 seconds in regulation. Might that kick have sent Western Kentucky into the title game for a rematch with Jack State less than a week from today?
Well, unless there's a miracle on this final kickoff, which I'm guessing they're going to probably squib it or pooch it.
Riley Stevens, the kickoff specialist for Western Kentucky all season, did put it out of bounds earlier in this game at the end of the first half. He sets up to boot it away here for the Hilltoppers. This will be returned and smothered by Michael Petway. 2 seconds came off the clock. That leaves 1 for Jack State.
2 seconds. Thank you.
And they're going to add 1 more second to this to make it 2. Sometimes in those situations, I feel like, why not just try to return the ball, you know, because the odds of now taking a snap from the 10-yard line and you need to have a field goal. Well, guess what? You got 1 play left, so that's not going to happen.
Western Kentucky 1 stop away from a trip to the title game.
Well, little pitchy woo-woo.
Little backyard ball here for Jack State to close out the regular season. And it's incomplete. Western Kentucky is headed to the Conference USA Championship. And that sets up a tasty rematch on Friday, December 6th in Jacksonville, Alabama.
And a lot of questions, Matt, as they go into the game next weekend. It will be a rematch of what we just saw tonight. The question is Tyler Huff healthy? That's the #1 story that has to come out of this game. Tyler Huff went down in the early portion of the third quarter, did not return to the game. In comes Logan Smothers to finish it out. Tyler was on the sidelines, but if you're a Jack State fan, that is the question. Western Kentucky, they're thrilled. They're like, we lost 2 in a row. We just won this game. We're going to the conference title. Jack State, they're trying to find a way to finish this thing off. Take a look at this field goal. It was just money.
Lucas Carnero, his second field goal from 50. He made 4 tonight and sends the Hilltoppers to the title game, snapping one of the nation's longest win streaks at 8. For Dustin Fox saying good night from Bowling Green. We'll have a rematch for the Conference USA title.